filter is just down here as a -2 dB null filter. All it does is reduce the volume when it's on. And I turn this on when I turn this on, the shimmer, because I want the shimmer to ring out a little louder than the main path. So I reduced the volume of this top main path while the shimmer was on. You don't have to do that, but that's what I did with that. And let's go through the shimmer settings. You've seen these before on other videos. Flex shift, 55 seconds, real long delay, decay time. The key here, I did forward direction, you can do reverse. Here's the shift, 0, 12, and 24 is what I did for this. I did an octave and a second, and 2 octaves on shift, on number 4, on the 4th voicing. I detuned them just a little bit. Mix up the detune a little bit by just a tad. Here are the times for the delays, 150, 275, 400, and 525. Level 4, the level 4 channel is the 2 octave channel, right there. This 24, that's shift 4. So it's shifted 4, but I didn't like it was a little bit too much in the mix, so I brought that mix down. You can see there, 80%, whereas the other 3 are at 100%. So that's just a mix adjustment. Here's the panning for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Mix them up. You can actually do a high cut frequency here, which I did, but I like the filter cut better for some reason. Not sure why it's different. I'll show you in a second. So that is the shimmer. About to level down a little bit here for volume control. This filter then cuts off the high frequencies, just like you have now in the Axe 2. You actually have this right here, a high cut cutoff. When I used it, it didn't seem to do the same thing, or I just didn't like the result, so I kept that up at 10K. And then I put a filter in here. There you go, low pass filter, so I cut off the frequency at 2807. And the Q is at 707. So that is a low pass filter, and then lots of reverb on a shimmer. Here's a large plate. Reverb, I won't go through all these. I didn't make any changes to this, but I used large plate. I put 90% mix, and then I didn't change anything on the advanced. I changed EQ, I don't think I changed anything, but the mix, this is what's key, 90%. I used heavy reverb to smooth out the multi-delays so that it turns into a very smooth shimmer. So that is the shimmer path right there. Then we go to our delays. Here's the first delay. It says it's delay 2, but this is what I'm, actually my main, let's go to the main delay first. The main delay is this delay, delay 1. Digital mono, input gain, feedback, master feedback stays 100, mix 35%. It's a 35% mix on this delay. The level drops a little on the delays when you engage them, so I always boost the delays a little bit when they're engaged. 417, the tempo here is 108 BPM. So at 108 BPM, you had a dotted eighth note. There it is, eighth dot, that's dotted eighth note. It calculates it to 417 milliseconds. I used feedback of 26%, that's the number of repeats. The mod, I used sine. A lot of times I use triangle. I used 4.8 hertz. That's a dotted 16th note is how I got the 4.8. I always try to get it between 4 and 5 hertz. That's roughly what Edge, the range that Edge uses. 32% depth, that's the modulation for this. So I used 2% depth, and I didn't change anything else here. I'm only using one mod, one LFO. Those are the main settings right there. Go to EQ, I always cut off my delays at 200 hertz and 8,000 hertz. It's approximately the TC2290 type settings. Not 100%, but close. Okay, and then the mix, very important. The mix is 35, we already went through that. The mix is the same on this page as it is on page 1. Mix, it's the same control. So mix, level, balance. And there you go. That's the first main delay. The second delay, which is a more subtle delay, is in series to that main delay. It is also digital mono, input gain is 100%. The mix is 17%, it's much lower, very important. Lower in the mix. and it's an 8th note delay. See the tempo right there? 8th note delay at 108 is 278 milliseconds. And you get feedback of 1%. That's just one quick delay. 1% does not mean one repeat, but it so happens at 1%. You'll get one repeat and no trail, nothing else. So it's a really quick da-da, and that's it. So that just is one repeat. We already went through what that sounds like when it goes into the second delay. Here's the mod, same type of thing, 4.8. But I used less depth here. I don't put too much mod in that first delay. In fact, you don't really need any mod in that first delay going into the modulated delay. This is all the same. And then we have the EQ, same thing as the other delay. And then we have the mix. Mix, different, 17%. We already talked about that. Lower in the mix. Lower in the mix and only one repeat. That's the key. Going into that main delay. And then going to some regular reverb. When the shimmer is off, I have a little bit of reverb with the mix at 18%. And that is the Ultraviolet preset. That's the path right there. So for the verse, I put on the FET boost, and then later I turn this off and I put on the big fuzz, and then later on I turn on this Y tube drive. Those are the main changes. The delays stay on here, this entire song, I don't change those. And then at the beginning I turn on these two to turn on the shimmer when I play the intro. And that's the complete overview of my XFX2 Ultraviolet preset.